Oh, hey everybody! Last week on Ask Kristen, I made some people angry. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Thanks to everybody who commented on last week's Ask Kristen video, how to be less sexist, and boy, were there a number of comments. A lot of times when you're on the internet and you talk about feminism and sexism, and especially if you talk about something called benevolent sexism, actions that might seem super nice but are rooted in the idea that women are a dainty, weaker sex and are merely just objects of beauty for men to behold and open doors for, well, people don't always take that so well. Matt Cow said, "Since when is being nicer to women sexism?" I never said that. To perhaps better explain what I was trying to get at, one of the greatest humans on YouTube and the internet at large, John Green, really summed it up perfectly in his crash course video on women's suffrage.
Let me submit to you, me from the past, that your weird worship of women is a kind of misogyny because you're imagining women as these beautiful, fragile things that you can possess. It turns out that women are not things. They are people in precisely the same way that you are a person.
Along those same lines, Yuri Villas-Boas offered this gold star comment on how to be less sexist, which said, "I had a similar experience of trying to become less sexist and made a lot of effort to change some behaviors and still do. Be more self-aware. If you're aware, you're able to notice when you look at a woman in an objectified way or when you're doing something like the benevolent sexism. You can then make a mental note for trying not to do it the next time or even giving yourself some light punishment for doing that. But don't reprehend yourself too much." I agree. Step 2, surround yourself with information about sexism. Read about feminism, talk about it, call your friends out when they do something suspicious. Go out with girlfriends, as in friends who are girls. By being in such ambiance for long enough, you start, or at least I did, to rewire your brain thoughts when it comes to your behavior regarding women. Exposure to other people who might not be exactly like you can be a good thing in terms of tuning up our mental marginalization that we easily engage in with people who might not look the same way we do or have the same backgrounds. That applies to women and men. Let's get on to this week's Ask Kristen question, which is coming from Anonymous. "I've had a crush on my friend for the past 4 or 5 months, and last month I told him about it and got rejected. I've been dealing with my hurt feelings reasonably well. I remain extremely attracted to him physically. I'm still friends with him, but I'm afraid this attraction could compromise our friendship. He's only the 3rd man I've been attracted to since puberty. Do you think I might be partially asexual? As for my main question, do you have any advice on how to get over this? This being wanting to rip my friend's clothes off very badly." As far as me trying to diagnose where you might fall on the asexuality spectrum, I don't have the authority to do that. No one outside of you should be telling you what your sexual orientation is. I do know that some asexual folks watch Ask Kristen, so hey, people, if you have any advice for our friend Anonymous, please let her know in the comments. Sounds to me like you have not put enough distance between you and this guy crush. It's very hard to compartmentalize neurochemicals shooting off in our brain anytime we see someone we're super attracted to that tells our body that, oh my God, there's that person. You need to rip his shirt off as soon as possible. That overwhelming feeling of having a crush, which some people call limerence, is actually the result of all of these brain systems working together to set off dopamine and cortisol and vasopressin. Probably the most effective way to get your brain to stop doing that is to withdraw the stimulus, because it's the same kind of pattern that happens when we get addicted to drugs. In the meantime, it might be helpful for you to keep in mind this psychological phenomenon called the white bear hypothesis. If you tell a person, don't think about a white bear, immediately they're gonna start thinking about a white bear. When you're getting over an ex, for instance, or someone who has crushed your heart into a million pieces, you tell yourself, I'm not gonna think about him. I'm not gonna think about him or her. That triggers our brain to then think about that person in the forefront all of the time. If you can find healthy ways to distract yourself, it can actually serve you really well in the long term, because that's you paying attention to yourself, that's you cultivating who you are and your likes and your interests and making you a more interesting person for when and if somebody else comes along that catches your fancy. It also offers some distance. Some psychologists also think that the white bear hypothesis can be skirted around with limited exposure to that stimulus. Every Wednesday night, my friends get together for a game night. That guy is always there. But that is going to be the one space in which I see him. Perhaps offers you a little bit of balance between those two extremes. You have to give your brain a break from that white bear. Or black bear, or honey bear, sloth, weasel, manatee, seahorse. Viewers, I want to know from you, what kind of tips do you have for Anonymous on getting over a crush, specifically a friend crush? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to ask me your questions so I can give you some answers that you might hate and comment angrily about.